This is part 2 of 2 videos that talk about single strand knots. In video 1, I gave 7 tips on how to prevent single strand knots, and in this video, I will give another 7 tips on how to prevent single strand knots. I hope you enjoy. The more your hair shrinks, the more important it is for you to keep your hair in styles that keep your hair stretched out. Keeping your hair stretched out keeps it from tangling on itself, and that's just basically, ear drying and twists, ear drying and braids. Some people really can't do a lot of wash and goes because the wash and goes will cause the hair to knot on each other, and so it's better that you ear dry and twist. When I do ear dry my hair, I will ear dry in about 6 to 8 big twists, seal my ends, and that has dramatically decrease single strand knots on my hair. Or if I know I'm going to be bunning, I will ear dry and braids because I get a better stretch that way. Talking about wash and goes, on type 4 hair can cause knotting, and I did a lot of wash and goes the first. I did a lot of wash and goes the first year that I was a natural, and like I said, I didn't really experience any knotting because I think it was because my hair was so short. But after I got right around that 1 year mark, that's when I started experiencing knotting with my wash and goes. And I would literally get in the shower, wash, get out, take gel, smooth around like that, and walk out. Can't do that anymore. Now, when I realized that it was my wash and go that was also contributing to my single strand knots, I had to modify my wash and go, and now my wash and go is more like a shingle, which means that I part here and I go through each section, smoothing in the product I'm going to use. And I found that doing that has helped to prevent knotting and tangling on my hair. The other thing that really helps is using a good. This is something that I also was not doing in the beginning of my healthy hair journey, or my natural hair journey. In the beginning of my natural hair journey, I was not using a leave-in. I think I used one and then I stopped. Right now, I always use a leave-in. Even if I run out of my leave-in, I will take a regular conditioner that I like and mix it, using the Kimmy YouTube recipe, and make it into a leave-in, because my hair just feels better and is softer with using a leave-in as opposed to not using a leave-in. Another thing that's important is not bothering your hair when it's dry. On the hair board, here when it's dry. On the hair boards, they talk about the hand and hair disease. Do not have hand and hair disease. And I have hand and hair disease sometimes because I'm just so fascinated with my natural hair, because I didn't even know that my hair looked like this until I went natural. And a lot of times I will, sometimes play with it and, pull at some strings and, things like that. Playing in your hair when it is dry can sometimes cause, the curl pattern or whatever style you have to separate, and will cause the hairs to tangle on each other. So I try a lot to not touch my hair when it is already dry. It's hard because sometimes I get bored and you start playing with it and you want to fiddle with it, but I have to stop myself. The other thing that really helps is, okay, so tip number 12 is mini twists can cause more single strand knots. I haven't fully figured this one out, but I did notice that when I was doing the really small mini twists in my hair, I did have more single strand knots after I took them out. Now, I don't know if it was because of how small the twists were, or if it was because of the product that I was twisting with at the time. So I'm a little bit wary of mini twists, and I'm not all that excited to do them anyway now that my hair is a little bit longer. But that's something you want to watch out for. If you're twisting your hair in mini twists, check to see if that is one of the reasons why you're having an increase in your single strand knots. It might or it might not apply to you. The other thing that really helps is not sleeping with your hair loose. That is a big thing. You should not sleep with your hair loose. I've never, maybe once or twice, slept with my hair loose as a natural, because I know if I sleep with my hair loose, it's over with. I'm going to have knots and tangles for days. So I never sleep with my hair loose. And I always use, one of those soft black bonnet caps, silk black bonnet caps. I like to sleep with one of those on my head all the time. I don't ever sleep without something on my head covering my hair. Trimming regularly. Trimming regularly. And this is a little controversial because, not everybody is into trimming. And for the first year of my journey, I did not trim my hair. But after I had those knots, okay, and I trimmed them off, and then I checked a few months later and they were back again, I decided to start, trimming my hair regularly. And I found, and I don't trim a lot. I trim not even an inch. I trim about a quarter of an inch, and I trim my own hair because I just don't trust anybody yet to trim my hair. I trim about a quarter of an inch off of my hair every 3 months, and I believe that that's also helping with keeping my ends neat and not dry and raggedy so that they don't tangle up on each other. Now, just a word of warning, if you have single strand knots, this is the first thing, do not pull them off. If you pull off your single strand knots and you just see one, because I can see them sometimes on my ends of my hair, and you just snatch it off, that's gonna break. You've compromised the hair strand, and now it's gonna split. So you go from having a single strand knot to a split. If you want to get rid of that single strand knot right then and there, just take a pair of scissors and just go above the knot and cut above the knot. Now, some people use the search and destroy method, which is just you kind of look through your hair, look through each strand every time you find a knot and cut it. I can't do that. That's just far too tedious. I'm definitely not going to do that with this hair. That would just not even feasible. And even when my hair is straight, it just takes too long to look through each, try to look through my head to find single strand knots. I'd rather just wait until it's time for my trim and snip it off then. Now, if I happen to see, that there's one and I want to get rid of it, I would just, I'll go in and snip it. Most of the time, I just leave it, and I know that my trim is coming up, and I'll snip it off then. Now, some people, some naturals, don't get rid of their single strand knots. They just leave them there until they're trimmed. Some people don't even trim them off. I've read on hair boards, and some people, it doesn't bother them. But for me personally, I do like to straighten my hair. And having single strand knots on your hair and straightening your hair, sometimes, as you're flat ironing, it can cause breakage, because now these little knots are getting caught in the flat iron and they're breaking, and that can lead to splitting. So for me, the best thing to do is to, stay on a schedule of trimming my hair to get rid of them. And the things I mentioned earlier, staying moisturized, keeping my hair stretched, sealing my ends, not sleeping with my hair loose. All of those things have helped to drastically reduce single strand knots. And I would say that the single strand knots in my hair have been reduced to around an 80% reduction of single strand knots. And I'm looking forward to the next time I straighten my hair, which won't be until sometime in the fall, to see how many knots I actually have. But I've been just feeling my hair, because I can usually feel them on the ends, and when my hair is wet, I can usually see them. I don't see as many I see a lot less. Like I said, around 80%. So I hope that this video has kind of helped you with this thing that we have to deal with, these single strand knots. And just to let you know, it's not only naturals that deal with it. I was actually searching on another hair board, a Caucasian hair board, and they had there was actually some information on their board that they also deal with single strand knots as their hair got longer. So it's a part of natural hair, and from reading their boards, it's a part of long hair in general. So, these are some tips that I hope can help you in dealing with your single strand knots. If you have any other questions, or if you have any things that you are doing to help prevent single strand knots, post it at the bottom and share. Thanks for watching. Ruby Ebony Curls. God bless and have a good day. And please rate, comment, and subscribe. Bye-bye.